So my next guests are from Trantech. Trantech I love as a company. Guys, Charles Culver, Aaron Cockrell. We're going to talk about several things, because one of the things, you've been around a long time. Trantech has been around a long time. You've seen this industry and you've seen where we are, particularly as it relates to transformers, which to me are the heart of the industry. I'm a transformer guy. Mm-hmm. Everything we've talked about today has been transformers. But you've particularly seen, and we've had more dynamic change as it relates to transformers in this industry, it seems like in the last 2 to 5 years, maybe since COVID, than we had in the last 50, right? We're at a sea change. Talk to me about what your experience has been. What do you think's happening in the industry?
I think the biggest driver right now is lead time. As we've come out of COVID, and you know the lead times for new equipment, new transformers coming out of COVID was kind of it had gone down lower than what the industry standards were before that. But now, just in the last 2 years, as the lead times have pushed out to 2-3 years. And I know of
Charles,
yes.
5 years.
Exactly, yeah. That's right. And I do know of cases where some utilities are paying for production space on out into 2030, 2032. Obviously, we've never seen this before. So that's one of the big drivers right now. And then, of course, with the electrification of the grid for electrical vehicles and whatnot, that's a big driver and everything. So. And that wasn't really, a driver before COVID. So that's changed. Before COVID, it was wind farms, solar, and everything. But now with the electrical vehicles and everything, so that's really driving the need for transformers.
Data centers. Data centers have a huge requirement.
Yep.
And now all of those people like munis and industrials, they're at the bottom of the food chain. Yeah. So when they call up and say, hey, we need 2 transformers, the utilities are going, well, I just got an order for 100.
Yeah.
Right? Who are you going to serve? You're going to have to serve your larger customers. Yeah.
Yeah, we see also, it's opening the door for foreign manufacturers of transformers and foreign suppliers of transformer components coming into the market now.
Nobody's coming in with radiators, right? We don't want radiators coming in.
Well, we're seeing guys show up with lower cost radiators from overseas. So that's been a part of it as well.
I'm sorry. One of them might be our sponsor.
I'm sorry. No comment.
Okay, no comment. See, I can comment, but no. Thank you, Charles.
Yes, sir.
From your perspective, what do you think?
Yes, sir. I agree totally with Charles. I mean, we're having unprecedented times now with transformer lead times and what's going on with the electrification of the grid. I mean, it's with EV cars and the push that they're trying to make. And they're trying to put it into place. It's just unsustainable.
Yeah.
Right. And with the timing, it's got to come down. I don't know when, but something's going to have to change to where that pushes further out. You know. That's the biggest thing that I've seen is just like he said, the lead time, and it's given other people the opportunity to come into the market.
Yeah. We just had an interview, and a gentleman really well-known and well-respected in this industry said, we have an existential crisis within the power industry right now because we already know it's bad and it's not getting better, and we don't even know how bad it can get. And that's exactly part of the problem. Yeah. If we're trying to electrify America, everybody's electrifying the world. This is not just happening here. You got to be able to have these kinds of balances between supply and demand. Right now, demand is really outpacing supply. I'm going to stay with you for a minute. I want to go to a different take. One of the things I love about Trantech is, and I say this, in organizations, because I used to be an organizational development guru, I would turn around broken companies, and I would use the term culture trumps strategy, culture trumps planning. And a culture of an organization you see in certain ways. One of the things is you started on the shop floor. How long ago?
Yes, sir. Over 20 years ago, almost 21 years ago, started on the shop floor.
And your title right now is assistant to the assistant to the assistant, no?
That's about right.
You're the plant manager.
I am the plant manager, yes,
yeah,
sir.
So I mean, I love the fact that to me indicates a culture of training, a culture of growth. So there are some other indications of who Trantech is that doesn't relate. So let's stay away from your radiators and
That's
some of your
right.
new products. Talk to me about the culture of the organization, first as it relates to developing people.
Yes, sir. Well, Trantech has got a wonderful culture. Our actual management, John Mathis, he's been with the company for 54 years.
Oh my gosh, he's an old guy. He started when he was 6.
No, sir. Yeah, they built the plant around him. That's exactly right.
There, and they built the plant around him.
Yeah, he started from day one. So yeah.
I love that.
And we
That's a
have
commitment.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have several employees with 20 plus years.
Yeah.
We just had somebody that retired that they had right at 50. So we gave them a watch in November, and we have a great culture of people who come, they want to stay there.
Right.
So it's a great family community. It really is.
How do you bring new, because everybody's having the problem with the next generation, because you got, so you just mentioned people retiring, and you know, Aaron, you got many more years to go, but you're on the other side of
Yes,
the hill,
sir.
okay? So you got to start thinking about your succession. So talk a little bit about it, Charles, if you wouldn't mind. Talk a little bit about how you're bringing people into the organization.
It's a challenge. We're in a small town, okay? So we're in a rural area of South Carolina. And Trantech is known in our town, Edgefield, South Carolina. It's been there, like I said, from 1970. So it's respected. Trantech is well respected in our little neighborhood. People know Tranter. They know the old name Tranter and Trantech now. So there is this notion that, hey, Trantech's been there and it's going to be there. So we do have people that want to come work there. You know, we invest back in the community, involved in the schools. You know, Aaron and these guys have been down in the career center at our local high school, working with welding students, and we've brought some of those guys into work, and some of them have stayed with us. So yeah, it's just being known and seen in the community and respected in the community. And we have people that just want to come work at Trantech. Because their dad did, or their grandfather did, or something like that. So it's just
that's even better, right? Generational.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, on a third one, you're known throughout the industry for quality. Okay, so I'm going to make that, and you can say, well, we're ISO 9. You're not 9000, ISO 9000. Yeah. So that helps. We know that.
Sure.
But there's another thing that you guys are probably not known as much for, but it is an important part of what you do. I'm going to call that applications engineering.
Yes.
You just don't build a product and somebody says, send me a transformer, for my transformer, send me a radiator that's got this size, this spec. You really do work with your customers because they're all handmade, they're all custom products.
Yes.
And then you're a custom shop and a custom products. Talk to me about how do you and I guess that's really from your side,
Sure.
but also from your side. Someone say you represent the factory, you represent the customer. That's hard to do, but talk to me how you got there.
And I represent the customer to the factory as well.
Exactly.
So that's, in the sales side and marketing side, yeah, I'm kind of in the middle.
Do you know why we have you in 2 blue shirts that look alike?
Why's
You represent
That's right.
The 2 of you are one. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So I get off the phone with the customer and I'm on the phone to him.
Exactly.
He's,
No,
he's
exactly.
next door
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
So so it's a constant back and forth. But yeah, so on the OEM side, the original manufacturers of transformers have been buying from Trantech a lot of them since the 60s and 70s. And so, they may have these cooling, they may have their, the engineers know kind of what size they want, but we get involved a lot when we're talking about new coatings.
Okay.
So we'll talk to these guys. So where's this transformer going? And then we need to talk about the proper coating that they're going to need, whether it be a galvanized radiator or what we call a duplex system. So we get into talking with galvanized and powder coating on top of the galvanized. So we get to talk about these new offerings that was not that wasn't offered maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
So that's something, and of course on the aftermarket side, wow, I mean, we're involved. It usually starts with a site visit. So we're out there in the substation looking at the actual transformer we're going to work on. We're taking the measurements to make sure that we have fit, first of all. And then sometimes we have to go back and actually find, using the nameplate data and try to find out exactly how much heat we need to dissipate if we're going from tubes to radiators or from coolers to radiators or something like that. So we're involved on that side of it, and we're working with their engineering department to make sure that they're comfortable in knowing that this cooling system that Trantech is going to supply is going to dissipate the right amount of heat and keep the transformer cool.
Right.
It's going to do what it needs to do. And then, of course, we get into discussions with coatings and that type of stuff. Lots of questions about internal paint and internal cleanliness of radiators. We're always having those discussions with our end users.
Get clogged, don't they? Or they can.
Yeah. And if they're going to be, stored on site for 6 months when they get there before the service guys get out to actually do the work. So we're asking those type of questions. If we have to do a nitrogen fill. So it's just constantly, it's not just, they don't say, hey, we want a radiator, 15 inches wide, 120 inches tall with 36 plates.
He's smiling.
No. Yeah.
Because he knows that's not what happens.
If it were that easy, anybody could do it, right? But yeah, it's constant. We're working with the end users and trying, and it's really good to make site visits. I spend a lot of time out in substations. Yeah. And, just looking at what's around, are you close to a chemical plant? What is the atmosphere that we're in right now? Why did those original radiators start to rust? Yeah. No real obvious reason, but hey, you might be a couple of miles from a chemical plant. Yeah. It's just stuff like that we're always dealing with.
Okay. So when Charles comes over and he's giving you all of this stuff and trying to, how well does he translate the customer's needs first?
Now. That's usually it. So that's usually our
customer advocate.
He is. He's a great customer advocate, and he's always, can we do this? Can we make this many? Can we get this long? Or can we do it tomorrow? That's the good questions. But
how do you feel about that as the plant manager?
It's wonderful. I like it. It's always a good challenge.
Culture, man.
Yep, it's always a good challenge. It's always a room for improvement, right? Okay. So if it doesn't exist, can we make it? That's the way we need to approach it and see what we can do. Be innovative.
So now we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to a third thing, the word innovation. You're radiator manufacturers. Guys, come on, how innovative can you be? However, yesterday at your booth here, I saw some innovation. So I'm going to let you go first on this one. And it's interesting. So I have to say this. I moderated a panel on physical security, and we had PG&E, the hosts of this conference. We had SMUD, Sacramento Municipal, and we had Idaho Power. And every one of them presented a chilling and frightening series of events that they've gone through with physical attacks on substations.
Yes, sir.
Would never have thought of it, right? Talked about North Carolina having 7 transformers shot out, 270 events in North America that we can count on. Right. Okay, because there's some people didn't report.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So, but you can count 2, and online groups of people trying to shut the grid, and transformers are the heart of the system, and your radiators on those transformers are a potentially weak spot for somebody to try to put a hole in that one. The oil drains out. Transformer that's operating and the oil drains out and you don't get to shut it down, you've ruined the transformer and the system. Talk about your ballistic proof guardian. I'm going to call it the guardian.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I like that. We need to market it.
Yeah.
No, it's yours. I give it to you.
Yes, sir. The ballistic panels, because as you mentioned, the radiator surface area of the 19 gauge material gives an attacker a good place to shoot at.
Right.
I mean, it's more likely for them to hit that area than it would to be.
You know what it is? They're trying to hit the bushings. They're just not really good, and they're hitting this. Okay, next I'll hit the big thing. Right.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So our ballistic panels, they're a little bit wider than our plates, and they're the same length. They blend in very well, so the attacker can shoot at it, and then. And they kept talking about in the panel, which was wonderful. They, deter, detect, respond.
We will actually put that on when we publish this. We're going to have that up there.
Yes,
and we're
sir.
going to point to where your panel actually,
That's wonderful,
when we publish this in the magazine, but
Yeah, so this will help deter them a little bit and then give them an opportunity to detect, and then they can be a faster response.
Right.
Yeah, so they can shoot it till their heart desires with the ballistic 8 level. it should hold up pretty well. And we have all three sizes are capable. I think it's a wonderful tool for the operator and the substation owner.
Pretty heavy, so how do you brace it? That's
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of weight.
It is. It's substantially weight, but we use flanges on the back of it, just like we mount it to the transformer. We got flanges to mount it to it.
Yeah.
And then we use gussets at the transformer end, so we support it that way.
You know what I thought? It's like you made it as a target, a big target. You should put a big target with a circle, and the shooter's going to think he's doing really well by shooting into it.
Yeah.
And the truth is, he's not hitting the radiator.
That's exactly right.
That's excellent. That's
That's why we wanted to blend it in.
Okay. There's another innovation. Love innovation.
Yeah.
And a company that's a tried and true company sometimes has a hard time thinking about innovation. So kudos to that's another cultural
Yes, sir.
thing. You've got a mobile application for mobile cooling right now. Charles, talk a little bit about that.
So this is how an idea came to an actual product. So I'll kind of give you a little background on this. You had mentioned a shooting at a Southeast utility a couple of years ago. Our president, Kevin Riley, got a call in the middle of the night after the shooting had occurred, and this was very close to Christmas. And the question was asked, do you have a mobile cooler that you can send up to us right now, as in tomorrow morning? And we did not. We didn't have anything on a trailer or anything like that. So as the culture, this was literally 4 or 5 days before Christmas. We ended up, we asked our employees if they would, or volunteers really, to work the week between Christmas and New Year's when they would normally have off.
Yeah.
Because we needed to make 34 radiators for this utility to get them back up and going, to replace the radiators that have been shot. And they did. So we worked through the Christmas break, and we had them replacement radiators up in the second week of January.
Another culture.
Another culture, yeah. So they were glad to do it.
Yeah.
So once it was all, so that kind of led to the ballistic panels, that idea of, hey, let's protect the radiators. But okay, so you don't have ballistic panels, but you get shot. You have something like that happens. We needed to be able to have a mobile cooler, a mobile cooling solution that a utility could have, and they could have maybe staged at a warehouse somewhere, and they could quickly move it from point A to point B, from one substation to another. And we wanted to use radiators because that's what we're a radiator manufacturer.
Yeah.
It's a known technology. And radiators attached to manifolds. So basically, we came up with the mobile auxiliary cooler. The radiators are galvanized so they can be placed close to the ocean or anywhere. This mobile auxiliary cooler will work under natural convection. It has fans underneath, so you can turn the fans on. It also has pumps. So on a larger transformer, if you need to go to an OF, AF rating, you can actually turn on the pumps and the fans. And so we actually sell the hose kits, 2-inch or 3-inch hoses to plumb, for lack of a better word, the mobile auxiliary cooler to the transformer, and you have immediate cooling. Now, you could also do this in the case of an emergency, or if you have a transformer that's just overheating, running hot, because it's in a location that grew up a lot faster than it was planned.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
In the summertime.
We see it all the time.
Yeah, they run those transformers in 130 degrees over rating, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they're aging them.
And what does that do? That decreases the life of the transformer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And in this day and time, when it's 5-year lead time for a new transformer, hey, that's my sales pitch, right? Yeah. So this mobile auxiliary cooler can be brought in, attached to that transformer, and you can leave it there for 10, 20 years if you want to. It can become a permanent cooling part of that transformer. So that, an idea to, hey, a finished product. And we have orders for those now, and we have one at the shop, which will probably be a rental unit. Just a little plug there. We'll probably have a rental unit, but we'll keep it Trantech. So yeah, excited about that.
We can introduce you to some other companies that would buy them from you and also rent them. So
exactly.
Getting it out there. Service companies.
Definitely.
I got to imagine that the market of service companies got to have one near every rig. So the application I see is huge. As the system begins to fail.
Yes.
And when I say fail, if I can't get transformers, this is really going to be important in industrial and data centers and other places, hospitals, where they are using, every time they hook up a new radiology machine, right? They take more power and they run the transformer, and they're stuck in the middle of 7 buildings. And
Right.
so, yeah, mobile.
So many applications.
I know,
Yep.
and it seems so intuitive, yet until somebody called Kevin and said, hey, have you got one? You just don't think about it.
And last year up at Doble, a utility in the Northeast said, yeah, we're getting some pressure with our carbon footprint. So we would like to cool, we have some transformers that are running hot. So we would like to just explore a way to cool them down because of just environmental concerns.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about that before.
I hadn't until you said that.
Yeah,
right?
and when they said that, I was like, wow, there's another marketing tool.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, summation. I want each of you to give just a summation. Why you love working at Trantech. We're going to start with you, Aaron.
Yes, sir. I love working at Trantech, and obviously I've been there over 20 years, and it's just groomed me, to be honest. Started as an electrician, worked my way through many different roles, and with the people along the way, and that's the big thing is all the different employees and people that I correspond with and work with. It's the community. There's not a whole lot in Edgefield, but Trantech's there.
To keep people busy and keep them out of harm's way.
Right.
There's not a lot there.
That's
if a casino shows up down the road, you're in trouble.
Oh, yes, sir. We're in trouble then.
Same question to you, Charles.
Yeah, Edgefield's home to me. Trantech's a great, respected company. I love working for Kevin. I love working with Aaron and all the guys there. So, I literally go into work every day and look forward to the challenges that are there. I look forward to working with the folks that are there, and hopefully we'll get to retire from there in a few years.
A few years. I got a few more years. There, yeah. Tell Kevin I said hi when you see him, and
yes,
I want to get him on another interview talking about what you guys are doing for the industry. I really appreciate what Trantech does bring to the industry, because as a transformer guy, it pains me to see the state we're in. I know it's great for the manufacturers to be 5 years out. It is not great for the public to be that far.
Right.
I have worked in the industrial and commercial world. I'm the chair of, actually co-chair of an organization called Safety and Reliability Association. It's a 501c6. And all we are about is safety and reliability of a plant, industrial and commercial. We're not utility focused. And the problems that are there right now are just real problems. They can't get transformers.
Yeah.
They're having to take transformers that really should be scrapped and retrofit them. So you guys being able to help them do that is very important. The people that can provide bushings, very important. But we're rallying in this industry to try to deal with all of this. It's good. It's good growth. It's good for society, right? But it came upon us fast.
It really did. Yeah, and it was unexpected. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this coming out of COVID. I know they didn't. I mean, no one that I've talked to in the industry predicted this.
We predicted steady 6% growth.
Yeah.
You know what happened? We went 4%, 8%, 9%, and that's now where we are. And it's not a lot bigger than 6%, but what it does is we just didn't build up enough, because there were a lot of factories back in the 70s and the 80s and the 2000s manufacturing transformers that had to close down because guess what? There wasn't the demand there. It is not an easy thing to bring up a factory. It's not an easy thing and they're having huge labor problems because they're still handmade, custom made, right? One off.
Go to a winding department at an OEM. I mean, you're not just going to bring anybody off the street, to do something like that. So yeah, the challenges are real. For these OEMs.
I am glad that you guys have been able to figure out your end of it to make sure that you provide. You're how many weeks out on transformers now?
Radiator's 14 weeks.
Yeah, we're about 14 weeks, and that's the longest lead time we've had in a long time. We actually pride ourselves on maintaining the lowest lead time in the industry, but coming right into January, it just picked right up, and the orders kept coming, and so that's a challenge for Aaron and his group, to get those lead times back down, and challenge for my group to make it hard for him to do that.
And with that said, we're done. Thank you.
Thanks
so much, Aaron. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate your time, Alan. Yes, sir.